Today we're talking about the silencing of our men. Why are our men being pushed into a quiet corner and being told to shut up? Today's video is inspired by one of our viewers, Christopher Cordray 9529, who on a recent video where I talked about it not being men's faults what's going on in their life, Christopher said these words: "Men have secretly been waiting for a movement like this for 20 years, bravo." Well, is Christopher correct? Is he incorrect? Let's talk about that. What did Christopher mean and what is this video about today? The silencing of our men. Let's get into that. I agree with Christopher's comment first of all. I believe he's right. I believe there is momentum and traction going on in the hearts of our men globally, especially our middle-aged men, about the fact that we are just about at the point where we've had enough of being pushed into a corner and being told to be silent. You see, the pendulum has swung too far. The scales have tipped way out of balance. We touch on this subject on many of the videos on this channel, and let's hit it right at the front so that people can't complain about the narrative of the video, even though some people still do, and we'll get to that in a moment. But when we talk about these things, we're not talking about the fact that there are no bad men out there and that there are no men who get it wrong. We know that there are. We know there are bad men who get it wrong. We know there are men who cause destruction. We get that. But the message that I'm trying to bring on this channel is the vast majority of men are trying to be good men. And it's that group of men that I'm resonating with. I'm trying to help them to vocalize what's in their minds and in their hearts, because collectively we are becoming sick and tired of being told to go to our corner, be quiet, don't have opinions, and if you dare pop your head up and have a view about what's going on in the world, we're going to invent a label, we're going to stick it on you, and we're going to torment you and tell you to stay in the corner where you were. Well, men are rising up in a good way all over the world, in every corner of society, because men are getting sick and tired of being big contributors, big givers, going the extra mile, sacrificing, trying to live by a moral code and set of values that will do everybody good. Do good for women, do good for children, do good for community. And yet, on the back of that, so many men are experiencing the fact that despite all of their efforts, despite their best efforts, there is still this narrative that's coming through of, we don't need to hear from you. We don't need your opinion. We need you to just go to work, go and do your stuff, pay your bills, do your thing, but stay quiet, stay out of sight, and stay unheard. Well, I've got news for you. There is a rising band of men around the planet, and many of you watching right now, I know you're in that group where we are saying enough is enough. On one of my videos recently, the same video actually that Christopher made his comment on, somebody got on there in response to that video and their words were, "OMG, enough already." Well, I responded to that comment very quickly and said, we're just getting started. And that is the truth. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, men like me, men like many of the men watching this video right now, we have reached the tipping point where we are fed up with being told that we don't matter, that our opinion doesn't matter, that we should be unseen and unheard. In fact, if you correlate the diminishing of the masculinity and men in our society and the state of society where it's gotten to, there is no surprise in why our societies are tanking and our communities are suffering. Families are weaker, children are less resilient, more corruption exists, family breakdown is at an all-time high, the world is in a state of chaos, in part because we have told good men to go to the corner and be quiet. Well, I am blowing a trumpet. I'm giving somewhat of a clarion call to men everywhere to say enough is enough. Whether it's been 5 years, 10 years, 20 years or more, if you have been subscribing to this message that says, go and be quiet, go and be silent, just sit in the corner, don't have an opinion, I'm calling to you and I'm challenging you with me that we say, no, we've had enough of that, it doesn't work, it's failing. In fact, the more good men that stay in that corner and stay in that place of silence, the worse our society is getting. Why? Because the societies that we live in Regardless of other people's opinions, the truth of the matter is our societies do not function at their peak unless good men stand up and be good men and display the values that have built the best civilizations in the history of humankind. And those values are courage, strength, moral values, family first, hard work, character, integrity, sacrifice, generosity, all of the words that need to be correlated to the word masculinity. I talk about that on this channel a lot, and I'm going to keep talking about it. I don't care how many comments tell me they don't like it, I will keep it up. We are going to reclaim and snatch back the definition of that word masculinity. It should not be paired with the word toxic. The original definition of that word masculinity is all of the values and the traits that I just described a moment ago. Courage, strength, conviction, provision, protection, empowering others. That's masculinity at its best. And I know that that version lives, at least in seed form, in the heart of every single man on the planet. Does every man achieve that potential? Well, sadly and obviously no. But the potential is in there to be a strong man, a courageous man, a good man, a man of values, a man who prioritizes the importance of family and contributing to his community. So we are sending a message through this channel. I am sending a message that people like Christopher, and I believe hundreds of millions of others. I know you're out there. I know you're watching this video. I know you talk to yourself about it, and occasionally you even talk to your mates about it, that you are fed up with this message that comes through our media, it comes through our social media, it comes through our news channels, it comes through peer group, it comes from everywhere in society that men should be silent and unseen. Well, that pendulum has gone well and truly too far, and it's time to swing it back to center. Men, it is time for you to come out of that corner, come out of that place of silence, stand up, speak up. We don't need to have an argument with all of the crazy lunatics who want men to disappear. We don't need to have an argument with them. They've got their own challenges. They've got their own life and their own baggage and their own journey to try and navigate and unravel, and we have empathy for them. However, what we don't have is time to waste on useless arguments that will get all of us nowhere. Arguing with somebody about the need or the necessity of manhood in today's world is a pointless argument. What we actually need to do is just to get up and speak up and be the men we were always destined to be. Stop waiting for somebody else's approval to be the man that you know you're meant to be. If you know you're meant to be strong, if you know you're meant to speak up, if you know you're meant to get involved in shaping and changing the way our society is, that inner belief and that inner voice that you were born with, that is all the approval you're ever going to need. If you want it, and it helps, get approval from voices like mine as well. It is time for us to say no to the extreme feminism that's gone on in the world. It's time for us to say no to the extreme fringe that is starting to dominate the world and start to reclaim the value set and the proven strategies that build the best families, the strongest communities, and the most vital civilizations in the history of humankind. It's built on the backs of men and women in partnership, building families, building businesses, building communities, because men don't hide in the corner, they don't go silent, but rather they come out, they speak up, they stand up, and they be the kind of men that they were always destined to be. So I concur with our comment from our viewer Christopher and others who I'm sure share the same sentiment about the fact that we are in need of some kind of renaissance of masculine manhood. I'm not suggesting for a moment that we need to kickstart an organised official movement. That might come down the road. Let the movement happen in our minds and in our hearts and in our recognition that if we don't do something about this now while the window of opportunity is still open, we might miss our chance, and it will be our children who pay the heaviest price. So men, I'm calling to you. I'm calling on you to speak up. I'm calling on you to stand up. I'm calling on you to ignore engaging, futile arguments with people in society who want you to beg for approval to be a man. None of us should be doing that. I, for one, will not be doing that. I will be seeking nobody's approval to be a good man, a strong man, a courageous man. And to every man watching this channel, watching this episode, I am appealing to you. Stop asking other people for their approval to be a man. We need you to be one. We need you to be a strong one. We need you to be a vocal, courageous one. If we get enough men thinking like this and acting like this, we might actually stand a chance of turning around the anarchy and the chaos and the mess and the destruction that is all around us in every society on the planet. We might actually have a chance to put things right once again.